pre-race favourite Jonas Vingegaard is leading La Vuelta with only a few days left. But for the first time in a long time, he doesn't look untouchable. After losing out to Joao Almeida on Friday's Angliru stage, of which he said that he had a special relationship and really wanted to win, and it looked like Jonas was only just able to hang on. No knockout attack, no big time gaps, just a 48-second buffer that feels a lot slimmer than Jonas would have wanted at this stage in the race. Afterwards, Jonas admitted he was disappointed and that Almeida deserved the win, and he apologised to his teammates and his family. So what exactly is going on here? Well, let's dive into it and take a look. Jonas Vingegaard is in the red leader's jersey with a 48-second buffer over main rival Joao Almeida from Team UAE. But in the last couple of days, something hasn't looked quite right about Jonas. He's not managed to gain any time on his main rivals, and in fact got dropped by Pidcock and lost the stage to Almeida, which is an interesting switch from the previous kind of version of Jonas that we've seen where he would destroy absolutely everybody that's name wasn't Pogacar. He certainly looked more human in the last few days. And as we're about to see from this interview clip after the Angliru stage where he lost to Almeida, Jonas had some interesting things to say that I think give us some additional context for this one. So let's have a look.
To be honest, yes, I would have loved to win today. We did everything we could so that I had the chance to win. But to be honest, I think Joao deserved the win today. He was super strong, and yeah, I did what I could, and yeah, as I said, he deserves to win. But of course, I'm.
So that's quite interesting. So he's basically saying there, as we saw pre-stage, that he really wanted the win. He was going to pace his team to win. He had a special relationship with Angliru, he said before the stage. But as soon as we start this interview, it was quite a magnanimous. Joao Almeida deserved the stage win. He really earned it today. So clearly Jonas knows instantly that he wasn't the better guy on that stage today, which in itself is really interesting, because usually if Jonas said he'd want to win a stage, his team were going to pace for the stage, and he was up against somebody that wasn't Pogacar, he would automatically almost win that stage. So clearly just didn't quite have the juice to come around him, which clearly he would have done. There's no question of Jonas obviously has been sensible with riding GC defensively, but also he does need to take more time. This was a major chance for him to take more time.
I'm a bit disappointed that I couldn't win, yeah.
When you say he deserves to win, did you realize early that he was asking his team to work, that he was strong for the win today?
Yeah, I knew already on the second last climb that he wanted to go for the victory, because he put his team on the front, and yeah, they were doing super well. To be honest, also my team did super well today, pulling the whole day, and yeah, I'm a bit sorry for my teammates that I couldn't finish it off. I would have loved to win, not only for them, but for my family today.
He basically says, I'm really disappointed not to have won the stage today, which again makes sense if he'd earmarked it beforehand. And then he apologises to his teammates because he had them pace all day and he couldn't pay it off with the win, and also to his family. So I wonder if he told his family, I'm going to win this one for you. This is the one I want to win for you guys at home. It's very interesting that he's sort of saying those things and then admitting he's disappointed that he didn't win. Very interesting. Like we say, usually he would be by far the best guy in this sort of race if they were all at their top level. I think it kind of proves that he's not at the level he was at the Tour, and maybe not at the level he thought he was going to be at this point in the race.
On GC, because the other riders than Joao are quite far now.
No, it's that's true. Now I have to focus more on Joao rather than the other guys. So to be honest, in the end, that's something that I can be happy about, of course. But yeah, as I said, I'm a bit. I would have loved to win today for my teammate and for my family. Yeah, of course, it's the Angliru. It's a very special climb, and I think everybody would love to win here.
So that's really interesting. He's saying he should be happy with the GC results, but he doesn't look happy, does he? He looks really disappointed. I think he is really disappointed not to win this stage. I think he thought he was going to win this stage, and maybe when he got there on the climb, the legs weren't quite where he thought they were. He certainly sounds like a rider that's frustrated and that wanted more from that one. Well, the first factor itself might be the most important in my opinion, and that is fatigue. Jonas has just come straight off an absolutely brutal Tour de France where he got second against main rival Tadej Pogacar, and with only 3 weeks gap between the end of the Tour de France and the start of the Vuelta, A Tour Vuelta double is a massive risk for any rider. We've seen time and time again, it's very difficult to get that right. It's incredibly difficult to carry peak condition into 2 Grand Tours in 1 year, especially when they're so close together. And I think it's pretty clear that the signs are already there that that's the case. He's riding strongly, but he's just simply not producing the same explosive attacks that we saw in July at the Tour. If Jonas had Tour level legs, there's simply no doubt that Almeida would not have been able to match him on Angliru or this weekend's climbs. I think we can confirm that by the fact that in the stage that was shortened on Thursday, which had no stage winner, Jonas was briefly distanced by none other than Tom Pidcock on that final climb. He was able to sort of claw it back and get back to Pidcock on the descent so that they could group up and work together to the finish. But that's the first time in a very, very long time that we've seen anybody whose name is not Tadej Pogačar drop Jonas Vingegaard on any sort of uphill incline. And his body language whilst he's been on the bike certainly implies to me that he's pretty tired. It almost looks like he's exhausted, like I say, conserving that energy. He's certainly not being gung-ho and attacking his rivals to try and take any time. Obviously, he did that on one of the first mountain stages in week 1, but that was it. Since then, we've not seen him really attack. And make no mistake, that 48-second gap is a lot closer than Jonas would want it to be at this point. Clearly, it looks like he's carrying over some fatigue from that Tour. And you certainly can't rule out the additional fatigue of all that DIY kitchen building that he's been doing, really taking its toll this late in the season. But certainly that's not likely to be the only reason why we're seeing Jonas not look at top form. One of the other things that I think is really, really important here is not just Jonas's level, but the level of the riders around him like Almeida. So we're going to have a look at a couple of clips from Almeida's interview after the Angliru stage. And he says a couple of really interesting things that factor into this as well. So he says,
yeah, this is a special one. Oh, I still don't believe it.
How did you do it?
I mean, I just... thanks to my teammates, they were key today. We did an amazing stage. I just put my pace from the bottom, and then I just did the best I could. Jonas was always on the wheel. The last K I was on the limits. I guess we were both on the limits. I was waiting for his attack anytime. Thanks, man. And I thought he would pass me in the finish line, but I knew the finish line quite well.
So that's really interesting. He says there, as you can see, that he was on his limit, he was going as hard as he could, and that Jonas was on his wheel, and he expected Jonas to come around him and attack him, especially in the final kilometre. He was looking out for Jonas's attack, but it never came. And therefore, he correctly surmises, as do we, that Jonas was on the limit. Because if Jonas wasn't on the limit and he had anything left to try and attack and gain time on Almeida, he absolutely would have done it there. Defensive riding is totally a thing and a legit tactic, but there's no way that he didn't want to try and gain time and even get the stage win on Angliru against Almeida. So the fact that he couldn't come around him, the fact that he couldn't attack him, tells you everything you need to know. And as we can see here, Almeida set the second fastest time ever on Angliru, so faster than Jonas, Roglic and Kuss went in 2023. And he did something in the region of 6.5 watts per kilo for 40 minutes. So really, really big numbers, but certainly not quite at the level that Jonas and Pog have been at in the Tour previously. But I think illustrates that Almeida is doing his best ever numbers. So certainly there's something to consider here, and that Almeida's probably in the peak form of his life, probably doing stronger numbers than ever before. And we then need to couple that with the fact that Jonas is not at his absolute peak and he's not doing the sort of numbers that we've seen in the Tour. So previously they were at this sort of level, but what we're seeing, the difference between them, but what we're seeing now is that Almeida's come up a bit and Jonas has come down a bit. And actually that level is now a lot closer than it was before. I think next up on our list is one people probably write off, but I don't know if they should. And I'm talking about the pressure associated with this. Jonas knows that realistically he should win. He is the best rider of all of them there. He hasn't won a Grand Tour since 2023. And as you could see from that interview when he didn't win the Angliru stage, clearly he is feeling the pressure of disappointing his teammates and his family. And I wonder if that's built up over the last couple of years and he feels he really needs to win this one to pay them off, especially when on paper he should win this one at a canter. But what does all of this mean for the rest of the Vuelta race and 2026 and beyond? Well, I think clearly Jonas is still the outright favourite to win the Vuelta. He does have that 48-second buffer. It is not as big as he would have hoped, but there are only 3 really meaningful stages left. and I certainly still expect him to win. But that being said, Almeida can clearly sense weakness. And if Jonas isn't in his top tour form, then a single bad day on one of those mountain stages could still swing it the other way. He might still end up wearing red when we get to Madrid, but it might be by a much smaller margin than he would have felt comfortable with, or we could have imagined. But the question is, even if Jonas holds on, has his aura been dented? Almeida's shown that the champion can be put on his limit. For years, Jonas has been the rider that only Pogačar could touch in the high mountains, but now Almeida is going toe to toe with him. Whether he actually wins La Vuelta or not, Almeida has shown that he belongs at this level, and that the gap to the very top riders is starting to narrow. So is this fatigue, pressure, Almeida getting better, or something else? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, but we might be seeing the era of the dominant two, untouchable by everybody else, finally coming to a close. So thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, most importantly subscribe. It's free and it really helps the channel. Catch you on the next one.